Alright folks, you ready for part 2? This is the vinyl section. Well, actually I've got some DVDs too, and this is from multiple stores, so I'll kind of break that down for you as we go through it. First up, there were some DVDs that I saw at the Great Escape, and they were $2 each. First one's Aerosmith. You Gotta Move live. Love some Aerosmith. It's a 2 DVD set for $2. Can you believe that? And then Ray Genius, A Night for Ray Charles. $2, and it's still sealed. Great guest on here, my girl Norah Jones, B.B. King, Al Green. Yeah, just some great artists. Then I picked up from the classic album series, the Elvis Presley DVD. Okay, so next we're going to do some vinyl. And this first pile is, these are albums from the sale room at Great Escape. All of these albums cost $1 each. So I picked up Yes, Tormato, I've never heard this album, but I did. Wow. Sometimes English. I guess I'm getting tired. Anyway, what I was going to say was I'm unfamiliar with this album, though I'm very familiar with the group. Used to listen to Yes a lot in high school. I would tell you which album, but it was a bunch of numbers and I can't remember the numbers. It was the famous Gray album. That was what we listened to in high school. So I picked up that, Yes. And then Van Zandt. Now I know nothing about Van Zandt except it seems like Johnny Van Zandt. Don't know. But Van Zandt, it's got big letters floating in space. I figured that had to be hard rock, right? And they got big hair. So that could be fun. Next up, Boxcar Willie. This is King of the Road, 20 great tracks. As advertised on TV. I wonder if they advertised how thin this cover is on TV. But it's okay. The vinyl looked real good. It's on this weird SMI label I've never seen before. Yeah. So that's, and it's got some great songs on it. King of the Road, Wabash Cannonball, You Are My Sunshine, Your Cheating Heart, Hey Good Looking, Holding in My Sweet Baby's Arms. Wow, this thing is really not wanting to go back in there. So how many more song titles can I read to try and get this thing to fit properly? Did I whack it, Jake? A lot of work. That was a lot of work. Alright, Roy Clark. Live from Austin City Limits. A little bit of ring wear on it. But vinyl looked great. It's got a little cut corner here too. Churchill label. I picked up some Ricky Skaggs' favorite country songs. This is on Epic, I believe. Epic. This next group, it's kind of a Christian group, Truth. This is Keeper of My Heart. This group goes way back. This is, an 82 record, so looks like there's some sun bleaching on the album cover, but vinyl looks pretty good. On Paragon Records, which I'm not too familiar with. Well, actually, I've never seen that label before, and as a follower of Christian music, that kind of surprises me. I thought I'd seen most of the labels. Anyway, this next is quite a find. The Great Shirley Caesar, Go, and it's still sealed. Anytime you get a sealed Shirley Caesar, that's for $1. That's a deal. Then the 12-inch single from Tremaine Hawkins. Album looks practically mint on Sparrow Records. Tremaine Hawkins. And I was very pleased to find this next album, Nightlight by the Second Chapter of Acts. Of course, the great Matthew Ward and his sisters, Ann Herring, and I would do that. I should have just kept my mouth shut, because I can't remember the other sister's name. Anyway, Carrie Livgren apparently played on this album. Carrie Livgren of Kansas. And this album is on Live Oak. And then we'll move to jazz. Tom Scott and the LA Express. I think this is kind of jazz fusion. This says Epic on the label, but I've never seen an Epic label that looked like that. What do you think about that, Jake? Doesn't look like your kind of people. Earl Klugh. This is Life Stories. So all of a sudden I can't read. Looking for a year, not seeing it. But Earl Klugh on Warner Brothers looks pretty mint. And then for $1, I mean, really, I found a sealed Jimmy Smith. Praying this thing isn't warped. Kenny Burrell playing on it with them. Jimmy Smith being the great jazz organist. One of the first guys I got into when I got into jazz. Very pleased. So those were all dollar records. The next two were in the main store. The Great Escape has a sale room, and then they have a main store. And I found these in the main part of the building. I don't often find blues albums in the wild, to be quite honest, and So I was really pleased to find Albert King, New Orleans Heat. Can't wait to clean this up and take it for a spin. I don't know what that label is. It's got a big tomato on it. Okay. And then the one that really, man, this was awesome find. I have the first two albums in this trilogy. Now I have Larry Norman, In Another Land. His first three albums were part of one trilogy. Whoop, sorry, didn't mean to. There's Larry. Good picture of Larry. What's so awesome about this is I got $1 knocked off, so it was only $3. Just, yeah, that's just a great price for that album. Alright, so the next two I got at, well, actually, the next four, but on Saturday, when Dave and I were doing all our running, I picked up two, and then today I went back to get some of the albums I had left behind, and I ended up getting two more. So, alright, so this is from Saturday, The Winans, Return. Love this album. I've got it on CD, but at $3 I just couldn't leave it, especially since the vinyl is just so minty. Quest, just cover's a little thin, showing some ring wear, but man, that vinyl looks great. And then I picked up an album that Jake should enjoy, Jimmy Smith, The Cat. Yeah, you know, I had to pick it up. It was in great shape. Vinyl looked excellent. It's on Verve. I paid $6 for it. You just don't find Jimmy Smith albums for $6 in the wild. Oops, sorry. How about that? What do you think, Jake? Alright, so I went back today. I had picked up that one Jimmy Smith album, and I was just almost losing sleep over the fact that there were two more Jimmy Smith albums, and I did not pick them up. So I went back today, looked at the vinyl on both of them, and they weren't bad, but they were just bad enough that I wasn't willing to part with $6 in order to gamble and see whether they were any good or not. So I walked out with two other albums, and I think I got some good stuff. First one's Jesse Dixon. He's a gospel singer. It's on Paradisc Records. There's the label. Paradisc being a label, I believe, owned by Eddie DeGarmo, and so I think he was a fan of Jesse Dixon and helped him out getting them signed, and so I can't wait to get to that one either. This was an amazing find. 2 LPs. I looked at the vinyl. The vinyl looks spectacular. Even though the album cover looks pretty beat up, but it's jazz stars, milestones. But listen to this lineup: McCoy Tyner, Sonny Rollins, Ron Carter. Holy cow. That's what the inside looks like. But this vinyl looks like it really has never even been played. So there was no way I was leaving without this record. Alright, and that takes care of Better Days West. Now the next several albums I'm going to show you came from my buddy Dave. He brought me some stuff. He brought me this album by Ronnie McDowell called The King Is Gone. And that song is about the death of Elvis Presley. Dave told me it was freakish how quickly they managed to get that single out to the radio. Let's see here. On Scorpion Records. Apparently, The King Is Gone was the one big hit that Ronnie McDowell had. So I'll be interested in giving that a spin. I guess he would like for me to catch up with Andy at Andy's Vinyl Den, so he brought me another copy of Herb Alpert's Tijuana Brass, Whipped Cream and Other Delights. The actor, Richard Harris, apparently is also a musician because he brought me one of his albums. The Yard went on forever. It is gatefold. One LP, but it is gatefold. And oh wow, so it's on ABC Records. And has some liner notes. With a little weird thing right there that says all the lyrics to the Jimmy Webb songs are included in this album. Kind of odd. Then, boy, these last two. The Dave Brubeck Quartet, Trio and Duo, Southern Scene. A little bit worn, but I tell you what, I always love some Dave Brubeck. Of course, on Columbia. And then this last album is something else. It's a comp, but what a comp. It's called Jesus Sound Explosion. After Dave left, I finally got looking at it real close. Couldn't believe my eyes. First of all, it was a great gift because it's, I guess he knows what a Johnny Cash fan I am. If you look real close, that picture right there is Johnny Cash and Billy Graham. And there are a lot of artists out of the Jesus music movement on this album. Randy Matthews with Didn't He? That's a great song. Larry Norman, Sweet Song of Salvation. And a love song is on here. All the rest I'm not really too familiar with. And Dave pointed out this unusual feature. He said most of them were mailed out, so they got this perforation right here, I guess, where you peel it open. And then you pull the album out. Kind of a generic label. Let's see if they're... I don't see any inserts, but that's a Jesus Sound Explosion. Let's see, the cut that Johnny does on this album is called I See Men as Tree Walking. I See Men as Trees Walking. That's the Johnny Cash cut off of here. So, yeah, very cool. So I had a great time Saturday. Always good to hang with my buddy Dave. And go crate digging, man. And you had a pretty good time, didn't you? I know you stayed home. But Dave and I brought you a box to sit in. Oh well. Anyway, hope you guys are doing well, and we will see you soon. Good night.